What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome back to more C4. Very excited to get back into Eagles content here this season. And yeah, welcome back to the channel. First game of the year. It's always good. I was not going to be in a good mindset if the Philadelphia Eagles found a way to blow that game. But on a game in Brazil, where I think we all could hope we never do that again. Field was terrible. Reminded me of the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. Luckily, it went both ways in that game. You saw, honestly, I think the field, while there was definitely some slips on the Eagles' part, I think it affected Jordan Love the most out of any player in this game, which was a huge advantage for the Philadelphia Eagles. Philly wins 34-29. Both teams looked pretty ugly. Both teams came into this game kind of regarded as, legitimate Super Bowl contenders. For sure, playoff caliber teams. And that's a good win for Philly. I mean, maybe some people will be like, oh, we should have blown away the Green Bay Packers. They're overrated just because they got hot at the end of last season. But they're a really good team. They got a lot of good players. They bring in Josh Jacobs. You got like 4 wide receivers who no one knew who was going to be good of the bunch, but everyone knew they were all generally kind of good. And I will say I have Jayden Reed in fantasy football. I guess I technically picked the right Packer wide receiver. And then I benched him for Chris Godwin a couple days ago. And that was strictly Eagle bias. Like if Jayden Reed was playing any other opponent, I would have played him this week. So it's dumb homer bias, but you know what? In fantasy football, at least he's not on someone else's team. At least he's not on my opponent's team. But Jayden Reed, awesome playmaker. So the Packers are definitely legit. And this is going to go down in hindsight, regardless of how the Eagles season finishes, as a quality win for the Philadelphia Eagles, a statement win from the Philadelphia Eagles, because while there was plenty of ups and downs, peaks and valleys in this game, I sent out a tweet before they got the football on their last drive. It would be really cool if the Philadelphia Eagles could turn into the 2022 Philadelphia Eagles and just kill this game off. And it's one of those things where it's like that LeBron meme where it's like, oh yeah, sure, you said that. I swear to God, I was just like, Jaylen Herz is going to fumble the tush push to seal this game and just to make it interesting. And trust me, bro. That is the exact words that came. And that's not a healthy state to be in as a Philadelphia Eagle fan. We should be excited that we just operated like a 7-minute game sealing type drive until the very end. Luckily, it still was points on the board by the best kicker in the NFL and Jake Elliott. Yes, I said it. Conversation needs to be had. You can regress from that pedestal. I think Justin Tucker, especially from those long-range field goals, kind of, showing his age a little bit. But Jake Elliott, Jake the Make, very good here today. And ultimately, sealed off a drive that was, again, plagued by, let's just go into kind of my rant here. My initial rant of my impressions from the Philadelphia Eagles in this game was, I think it falls on Sirianni by not letting them play in the preseason. This is a copycat league, okay? And I get, the topic of playing your starters, resting your starters in the preseason is polarizing and varies from team to team. The Chiefs are the dynasty right now, and the Chiefs play their starters. Like, Patrick Mahomes probably goes for 2, 3, 4 drives every preseason. And I think with Jason Kelce retiring, those would have been very valuable live game reps between Cam Jurgens and Jaylen Herz. There just felt like, as far as passing, as far as blocking, the O-line seemed like communication was great. Everyone was on the same page. But that, the giant hole, pause, that Jason Kelce has less on that offensive line, you really think that would have been valuable to get that going. And Hertz, again, another guy. We're all learning this Kellen Moore offense. I feel like more live reps than just like the co-op practices was needed. I think that's really my big takeaway from this game is, again, I think a lot of the negatives fall on to Nick Sirianni for the preparation leading up to this season. I know a lot of people were just like, just play him a little bit. Just play. I know everyone's fearful of an injury, but model if the Chiefs do it, everyone should do it. That's kind of like, that would be my mentality going into this if I was a head coach. I was like, what are they doing? The Chiefs do it, and it seems to work fine. All right, let's do it. Let's do it as well. So yeah, that's really my big takeaways. The rustiness and sloppiness, and then the starters not playing in the preseason. And then also you got to pile that with bad decision making from Jaylen Herz. It felt like literally every time he would audible out of a play, something bad happened. Felt like anytime he had a decision to make in an RPO play, he made the wrong decision. And I have no way of explaining how Jaylen Herz has regressed so badly in the RPO game. Like in 2022, and in 2022, Philadelphia's RPO game was unstoppable. And I would make the argument that year Jaylen Herz was the best decision maker at quarterback in the entire of the league. So what happened? What the hell happened? What kind of brain control did Shane Steichen had over Jaylen Herz that made him read the game better, process the game better, make better decisions? Because it has been absent since he has left the building. So it's one of those, like, how else do you explain it? You know, it's not like Jaylen Herz has some injury anymore. Like that was maybe a knock last year, that especially in the RPO game wasn't as much of a threat running the football. I mean, he looked lively out there tonight when he had to make a scramble. Wasn't kind of giving up on the runs like he did last year. So, I mean, if anyone has good explanation, well, the regression of Eagles, like that should be documented. That should be broken down by the people that are the X's and O guys here on Eagles YouTube. Because it is shocking, the drop-off in that element that was so unstoppable for this team. But Jaylen Herz goes 20-34, 278 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Also had 33 yards on the ground and a couple missed opportunities for tush-push touchdowns. Jaylen Herz could have easily had 4 touchdowns tonight. But Saquon is the guy that kind of dominated there. But ultimately for Jaylen Herz, up and down night. And it's tough to give him full credit because there was the fumble on the tush-push right at the end of the game. But ultimately, I feel like you have to give Jaylen Herz plus grades because he helped orchestrate a 7-minute, whatever it was, game-killing off drive that we can now look back in hindsight that is what it was, even with the failed execution at the end. So I'd give Jaylen Herz like a C+. I would still say that the stink of last season has me cautiously optimistic versus this being a slam dunk. All the reports was like, yo, Jaylen Herz hasn't thrown an interception in training camp all year. And then like just arm punts one on our own red zone for an interception. Terrible throw. No idea. Like, why are we playing superhero ball with the noodle arm? Understand your limitations. And then follows up with maybe even a worse pick. Could have took the points to go up 8. And then he just throws like across his body, double coverage on A.J. Brown. Does look like A.J. Brown slipped on the play. Maybe if that's a legit field, you know, he catches it. I'd say much more likely he can at least play DB on the play and break that pass up like he did later in the game on Jair Alexander on a bad throw by Jaylen Herz. But to kind of summarize Jaylen Herz on the night, up and down, ultimately led the drive, so he gets a positive. Both quarterbacks that had a lot of hype coming into this year didn't look great, so surely I would trust that maybe the field conditions kind of affected the quarterback play here a little bit. But ultimately, C+ for Jaylen Herz. Saquon Barkley, though, incredible. 3 touchdowns on the night, 109 yards on the ground with 2 touchdowns. And he got a Corey Clement-esque receiving touchdown early in the game. I mean, what a signing. As long as he stays healthy, knock on wood, I mean, we're going to be in games. He can be a player that in a game like this, where Jaylen Herz is not having his best game, right? Last year, we couldn't rely on DeAndre Swift really to take over games consistently. And that's not to say that he didn't, because obviously DeAndre Swift had some huge games for the Philadelphia Eagles, some huge runs, valuable runs. But it still never really felt like if Jaylen Herz was struggling, Nick Sirianni in the offense had confidence to run it with DeAndre Swift to close it out. Like, all right, it's not working, let's do it. You know? But I feel like when you have a guy like Saquon Barkley, we got that down the end. Where it's just like, all right, just hand it to him. Just hand it to him. He's getting 7-8. He'll get a 7-8. He'll get that 3rd and 1. And then he'll carry 3 guys into the end zone if he has to score. Put the team on his back. That was an outstanding performance. Shout out to everyone that got Saquon Barkley in their fantasy leagues. I'll say that right now. If he stays healthy, that is a potential league winner right there. So, yeah, Saquon A+. Has there been a better Eagle? I'm trying to think, like, what was T.O.'s debut with the Eagles, stat line-wise? A.J. Brown's debut with the Eagles, stat line. Like, is this the greatest regular season debut for an Eagles player ever? At least for an incoming free agent? Certainly in the area code. Wide receivers, A.J. Brown, 5 catches, 119 yards, and a touchdown. For the most part, got the better of Jair Alexander, who's a premier corner in this league. The house call that he had, 67 yards, was badass. Scared my cat. I honestly haven't seen my cat since. He was just chilling, and then was no longer chilling. But A.J. Brown, absolute beast. Devontae Smith, 7 catches, 84 yards, and it felt like 5 of those 7 catches were for first downs. Clutch player. Got some good yak. I felt like they were giving him a lot of quick throws and letting him do the rest, which, you know, I'm not going to say that he can't do that, but certainly not a strong suit I perceived of Smitty's game. That was highlighted on full display here. Dallas Goedert made, you know, obviously there's only so many mouths you can feed here in a game like this. But I mean, Goddard again made some nice grabs, couple first down chain movers. Jahan Dotson got 0, which was, I wouldn't say necessarily unsurprising. Still learning the offense, still trying to get integrated. Clearly Philly's probably been working on this game script for the Packers before Jahan Dotson got traded. So I wouldn't read too much into it. You know what he is? He's going to be like the 5th wide receiver, the 5th target on any given play. It's going to be A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Saquon, and I would probably say even if Kenny G's on the field, Gainwell, they're probably still going to be ahead of Jahan Dotson more often than not. He just has to be ready when his number's called. But ultimately, receivers, very good tonight. I'd give them A for sure. Very solid A. I don't think there was too many drops that I can even think of. I don't think there was too many bad routes. I felt like when Hertz made mistakes, it was more on Jaylen Herz than it looked like it was the receivers. So A for the wideouts. Special teams. Good, right? Jake Elliott, 2 of 2. Discussions need to be had about who the best kicker is in the NFL. And we're not just going to say that because Justin Tucker had maybe not his finest performance for the Ravens against the Chiefs, and Jake Elliott continues to absolutely crush it. And I definitely think, without a shadow of a doubt, I know Dallas's kicker broke some record or something for most. I think Jake Elliott was the most valuable kicker in the league last year. Won some gigantic games for a playoff team, and that's just my little. Let's be honest, okay? It's probably still Justin Tucker. He's probably it's too spicy to say you got to take Justin Tucker off that number 1 kicker spot. But I think you need to start having a discussion that Jake Elliott, are we getting 1A, 1B territory at this point? He's such a damn good kicker. Defense, they played their asses off in the first half. When the Eagles offense were costing us, Green Bay should have been up 17, and they were only up 6. It was 2 field goals. I thought that, the linebackers, what we knew about them was still true. Probably not going to be great in coverage, but obviously Zach Bond was like a pass rusher outside linebacker playing him inside. You know what it kind of reminds me of? Like that Tavai guy on the Patriots, and like when he came over from Detroit. I feel like similar styles there. I'm here for if we can let our linebackers continue to play downhill, which is there's going to be negatives. There's going to be times they're going to get exposed in coverage. But if we can mostly, and you have Vic fans, you put them in a place just to play downhill. Jacoby Dean and Zach Bond from tonight can be very efficient. Reed Blankenship, 8 tackles there, had a great interception, great instincts, attacked the football. Probably was the play of the game, I would say, overall, in terms of just like unexpected, game-changing moment. I think the Reed Blankenship interception was a gigantic game changer. Quinyon Mitchell, kind of trial by fire on the outside there, but definitely more ups than downs. I imagine he'll probably get a pretty good PFF grade. He'll probably be like something in the 80s. Felt like he did a very good job, especially because all the word on the campus is he's going to play in the slot. And then there was like a phantom injury to Isaiah Rodgers somehow. So it's like, all right, we're going to kind of have to shuffle the corners around. I think they played Avonte Maddox mostly in the nickel in the slot. And they had Slay and Quinyon on the outside. I thought Quinyon did a great job on the outside. Didn't seem like outside of, a couple rookie growing pains, we'll say, here or there. I thought he had a strong game. Jacoby Dean coming downhill. He smashed that backup running back for the Green Bay Packers. I can't remember his name. Came in for like a screen and just hospital pass from Jordan Love. No execution, no blocking. Blew it up. That was an awesome. That was probably my favorite play. The most hype play of the game was that Jacoby Dean hit. Obviously, Slay, one of those things where like you didn't call his name, so at corner had a pretty good game. Forced a fumble on Josh Jacobs that we couldn't recover, unfortunately. I thought Nolan Smith had some good pressures. I thought Jalen Carter, Jalen Carter is such a force. It felt like he got held on like 4 or 5 obvious plays, didn't get called, but constantly was getting interior pressure. I thought the run defense, mostly with Jordan Davis out there, especially in the first half, was dominant. But again, that's kind of been the knock. The run defense was not the same in the second half. And I didn't pay attention enough to be like, oh man, look at Jordan, big JD's gassed. But dominant in the first half, not as dominant in the second half. I will just say it's assumption that is there still some fatigue, can't play all the quarters that we need him to play still in Jordan Davis. But I don't really want to be on the record saying that without actually kind of breaking it down there a little bit. But ultimately, I think the defense, couple bad tackles. But again, the field was dog shit for both teams. And I do feel like a lot of the big splash plays for the Green Bay Packers, we're just like, it's open field and our guys are going to slip. It's going to be so, especially someone like as fast as Jayden Reed. So I don't want to be too harsh on the defense for giving up 29 points. And I think, especially for how they played in the first half, that's probably what helped us win this game, was when our offense was so bad, so detrimental in the first half. The defense bailed us out and allowed us to keep it competitive, ended up winning it in the second half with better execution. But I'll give the defense B+. And overall, game ball, it's a tough one. I think on the defensive side of the ball, you have to give to Zach Bond 2 sacks, impactful sacks. Got one at the end of the game on the backup quarterback there. Shout out to Jordan Love. Hopefully not a significant injury. I say that biasly as a Jayden Reed fantasy owner, and unbiasedly as, the more competitive, fun football games as a neutral that I can watch in the NFC, the better. And that will be Green Bay with Jordan Love and not Green Bay with Malik Willis. Game ball offense, it's Saquon. I think ultimately it goes to Saquon Barkley. What a debut. What a performance. Thank you very much, New York Giants. And showing it all to the world on Hard Knocks. That was the awesome part. Like, there's so many things that are going to be able to be ripped from that and just posted on social media. It's going to be awesome. But 1-0 for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now we get a little bit of a mini bye week before we get into week 2. So hopefully we get healthy. Hopefully, maybe get a little Devin White, some linebacker blitzes out there. I mean, hey, that's another thing too. Devin White, mystery phantom injury last second. Everyone was kind of worried. It's like, oh, no, great. Now Zach Bond and Kobe Dean isn't going to work. Zach Bond and Kobe Dean outside of coverage kind of worked. So now you may be able to mix in a little bit of Devin White blitzing into the mix. Get Isaiah Rodgers in the secondary. Get healthy. And bring it week 2. So that'll do it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Back here on the More C4 channel, we're going to have weekly uploads, reactions to every Philadelphia Eagle game. Plan is at some point maybe to do like a live stream cast on the channel. Plan is also at some point, for those of you that are watching from the YouTube channel, to stream pink slips on this channel. I didn't upload forever, so I lost the ability to stream, I'm pretty sure, until I meet some thresholds. But once I get to that point, my plan, and I'll get there by, uploading the Eagles reaction and stuff like that. My plan is to stream once a week pink slips, Madden 25 here on this channel. So subscribe if that is what is interested to you. And I'll see you guys back here on the next one. Peace, I love you. Have a good one.